This section we're going to be covering roller rocker arms. Now, why would you want roller rocker arms? Yeah, if you know the answer, just skip a little bit. But just to kind of briefly go over it, you've got two parts to a rocker arm here. You've got this where it pivots, the pivot point or the trunnion, and then you've got the finger on the end, if there's a fancy word for it, I don't know, yeah, whatever. Anyways, that rolls too, so that's why we call it roller rocker arms. Got bearings in it. Here, you've got a pivot that has friction and then nothing to roll here. So really the benefit to this part is it's going to cause you're going to have less wear on the stem ends of your valves, and you're going to be having less friction. Engine Masters, I don't know, season 2, if you keep up with that show. I love that show because they've got lots of good information on there. If you're just doing your standard stock engine, even a little bit more than stock, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But once you start putting a high amount of lift, the valves here are going to have about 525 lift. You're really going to need to start having something with less friction and less binding, and then that's where this is going to come in play. On that episode, they how did that go again? They had 608 horsepower or something like that, and then they put this on. Now, it's not going to make a huge difference, but I want to say it gave them 4 or 5 more horsepower, which is considerable, really, when you figure $300 an upgrade, and then there's stupid people in this world who think a cold air intake gives you horsepower. Well, some people spend $1,000 on it, and it really doesn't do anything. So if you want to increase 5 horsepower, there you go. Cheaper, and it looks good. But it becomes reliability, and you're going to get less valve flow, because once you're doing this, you're going to have a lot less you're going to have a more reliable valve push. And then also, here's some of the parts we're putting in. So yeah, here's another rocker arm, and we are upgrading stuff here. So this is a 3/8, which is all of these. They're cute, real tiny. This is the new one, 7/16. That has a lot to do when you get into those high RPMs. You'll see flex. This will start moving side to side and moving around a lot. And so then going to 7/16, that's going to make it a lot stronger, a lot more rigid, and you're not going to get valve float as soon. What's valve float, if you're wondering? That's where the valve doesn't completely close by the time it needs to open again, and so then you're going to lose your compression all the way up at the high RPMs. Your valves are bouncing around. So this is a quick, or it's not going to be quick, I won't lie to you, but we're going to be switching out these pieces. We're going to be switching all of these out. Now I'm just going to do one, and then putting in these new rocker arm studs. Yeah. Now I made a little tool for this, which really not much of a tool. It's just aluminum bushing. I drilled it 7/16, give it a little play. I'm going to take all these off so you can get a better view. Now I hope this doesn't lose focus sporadically through the video, but I'm going to start off with just your average nut. Kind of get a start on this. And these are pressed in, which I've had these actually fall out. Or they didn't fall out, but they were getting longer and longer. We couldn't keep valve lash in a 350 once, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the studs are backing out. So you'll feel it start to pull out, and you'll feel it get weak. It's either the threads on the nut pulling out or the studs pulling out, one or the other. Then I'm going to put a nut on there. because that aluminum to nut, sorry, I put a washer on there because that aluminum to nut interference, you know what, it was the nut pulling out. We're going to be going through a few of these, I think. Yeah, much better. That nut shot. So we're going to get it pulled up a little bit. Oh, crap. Those studs are stripped. Let's start over. Okay, lesson learned. Only use a nut once. Got another one here. Forget that washer for now. That feels right. Yeah, it's not too soft. That feels like it's doing it. As you can see, all of that aluminum kind of chipping off of my little tool. I'm gonna get a little bit and then I'm gonna back it off, and then I'm gonna start putting washers in there, because all that pressure on the aluminum, I like making little bushings and things out of aluminum if I can, because it's a lot easier to work with. Because on this other one, I'm probably just I'll have to make a shorter bushing so I can get the threads at the bottom. But yeah, we're just gonna pull this all the way out. Also, rocker arms, it's more reliable. And you don't want to buy cheap rocker arms, because if you do, I mean, it makes sense. There's roller bearings in there. Well, if those blow up, now you're going to get roller bearings all over in your engine. So that's one of those things where you save $100, you spend another $10,000. So I kind of bottomed it out on the threads. So we're going to back this out and put a couple more washers in there. I think next time around I think these are a grade 5 nut. I'm going to use a grade 8. A little bit stronger, and then I can probably use it 2 or 3 times. So yeah. And I made this tool, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch long. And then right now I've got 4 washers in there. There we go. And there we go. Just got the stud out. Now, next, we've got to thread it. You're going to want to start with a tapered tap. There's 3 different kinds of taps. You've got taper, which like halfway until it starts to get to your threads. Then you've got a plug tap. That's where the taper will end at about there. And then a bottoming tap, which is the bottom. You've got full threads right off the bat. So start with a taper. That's going to have better alignment. So I watch You just have to be very careful that you start this off right, or you're going to have a stud that could be off a little bit. And so just kind of eyeball it. Looks right. And a taper tap is really good at starting because it goes quite a ways down in before to kind of pilot you. Make sure you're going in straight. And then we're just gonna go for it. It's cast iron. It's easy. You can lube it if you want, but cast iron is pretty easy cut, and actually lube kind of messes with cutting cast iron. It'll get in the way and your chips won't be as good. Of course, I already put this stud in. I'm gonna have to take that out. Yeah, doing these studs, they're the same as a 350. All the way from, when did they start? 68, 69, something like that, until 2003 or so. Same design. You know Chevy made a good engine when they used the same block design for that many years, and that's like 40 years almost. Unlike Ford, they kept changing and changing and changing. That's why no one puts a Ford engine in anything, because you don't know what you've got. That and Ford sucks. But yeah, we're gonna, I probably went a little deeper than I needed to. That's okay. And then I've got my bottoming tap. That's this one right here. You can see that the threads kind of start right off the bat. The full cut of thread. Now there's two ways you could do this. You can Loctite it in, because if you look down in there, you'll find that it goes into the water jacket. Also, you know, blow this all out. So it goes in the water jacket, so you're going to need to seal it. Loctite will work. I'd use blue. I almost never use red. Or Teflon tape from the hardware store. And, I don't know, 3-4 rounds, whatever floats your goat. And then you're just going to put it on in there. And then tighten it up. So yeah, and let's see here. Let's just for your entertainment purpose. I mean, it's not on all the way. I know that, but this is not final install. And then yeah, that's all there is to it. It'll take a while. 7 minutes a piece. It's a lot of time. but it'll make a big difference, make this more reliable, and man, does that look good. It just looks fantastic. Almost ashamed to put a valve cover on it. After I've done a few, throw a little red grease on there and use grade 8 bolts. It's a little bit easier. That lubrication, less resistance, less friction, makes it easier. Then I realized I was doing it the hard way. Put your little Jacobs chuck if you've got a head machine, and if you got a milling machine, you could get it leveled, and then that's going to help you get it started straight up and down. Float the table, get it there, and then stop. And then you can just feed it in by hand. So, yeah, if you've got the capability, go ahead and do it that way.